Now, if you're noticing a slight difference in our railing, it's because I did come back to the model table yesterday afternoon. It was late yesterday afternoon, but it was still the afternoon. And yeah, I did a little bit of work on that. But you know, in order that this conversation does not get confusing, we may as well go back to yesterday and I'll show you what I did. Okay, it is an absolutely beautiful late afternoon here. And everything is pretty much exactly the way I left it here as far as the style rest goes. I haven't moved it, I haven't shaken it or anything. It's just the way you last saw it at the end of yesterday's video. And my thinking at this point is I'd really like to see if I can't finish painting this side of these railings. And actually, with the windows open the way they are, today it'd be a perfect day for, you know, using this. However, I don't want to do that. I'd like to finish off with the style res if I can. And besides, this can was a couple of years ago we used it on the Bismarck, so I don't even know if it's going to work. You know, I know it rattles and everything, but well, is the nozzle going to work? I don't know. I don't want to test it, because every time you use one of these tins, as far as I know, the nozzle gets more and more plugged up, and that's less it's going to work. So I'm just going to leave it here. But here's my thinking. Why don't I very, very carefully and gently take our style res? Hopefully the chunks have settled to the bottom. I would think they would. Now, unfortunately, so would the pigment. So this may not be a good idea. Okay, we're done with this XF 19. We know it works perfectly. Remember yesterday we did this. So I'm going to take the style res and dilute it down about 20%. We still got a little bit of Tamiya thinner here. So I'm going to just take a little bit in this jar, and I'm just going to go by weight. I realize that the volume might be different, but we'll go by weight, because I would think that this thinner would probably be very close in weight per milliliter as don't shake this now, as this. And yeah, I'm just going to set up to do that. Get my little scale here, and we'll put in figure out how much thinner we have to add. And okay, enough talk. Okay, now if you will remember, this is the scale that times out on us rather quickly, so I don't want to waste a whole bunch of time. I do have another one that is actually a lot more sensitive than this. It weighs to within a thousandth of a gram, but it won't time out, but it's not designed for a lot of weight, and this could possibly be more weight than what we want to work with. I think it only goes up to a maximum of 50 grams. Anyway, let's get going here and see what happens. Okay, so turn. Can you still see it? Oh yeah, you can still see it with the light out. Okay, so we're gonna put that on there. Now we're gonna push our tear button. Okay, we're back at 0. Now very, very gently here, I want to open this up. I don't want to shake it. And we're going to put in 5 grams. Oh, that's 5.4. Well, I'm not going to take any out. Let's put in 1.1 grams of thinner. So that would bring it up to 6.5. Aww, this stupid scale. Well, we were pretty close. Let's just put in a few more drops there just to play it safe. Okay. You stupid scale. And there's no way you can set that so that it doesn't do that either. It just... Okay, it's so frustrating. I should have used the other scale. It doesn't time out. It just keeps going. I've tested it for as long as 10 minutes. Okay, so now we've got our diluted stanilres. I guess it wouldn't hurt to shake it. It's not going to hurt anything. Okay, I guess I don't need to show that being done, do I? I would think, though, that it's not going to take a whole lot to, to mix this up. Let's look at our cap back on here. All right. Now I'm going to recompose here and see if we can't paint the rest of the railing. I'm going to start out at 20 pounds pressure. I think because it's thinned out, it should work, but I could be wrong. Okay, I'm hoping we do not need this time. Let's see if this is noticeably more runny than it was before. And hopefully less chunky. I didn't actually see anything. Probably we didn't need that much. Okay. Well, it's working. Will it stay working? We'll just start over right from the bottom here. No, I don't believe this. It's quit already. It has quit already. Well, oh my goodness. Okay, I've turned the pressure up to 30 pounds. Well, that worked really well. You might say it kind of flooded on, but then as Tony said, you just flood it on and it kind of shrinks. So I'm very pleased with the way that went. Okay, yeah, once we got it going there and didn't stop, it worked really well. Now, before I actually clean out the airbrush and so on, I just wanted to sort of point out where we might have a problem later. It could be that when I remove these photo etch things from the, from these things here that are holding it up so that the photo etch won't stick to the paper. It could be that where it flooded on, we might have a problem on the other side. Yeah, this side's going to be perfect, but the other side may not be. Anyway. Yeah, I wasn't seeing any little, pieces of paint come spitting out. I didn't hear or see any spitting, in other words. Okay, this is the side that we just did, and I got a feeling it's going to be much better painted than the other side. Don't know if you can see this or not, but this is one of those little pieces of paint that it spit out. Not this last spraying job, but the time before. No, I don't need to be so super careful. I guess it's not like I'm removing bandages from somebody who was, you might call a victim of burns or something like that. It's just, okay, let's turn this over here. Oh my, we're going to have a problem, I can tell already, because it's kind of sticking to this one right here. So that means that when we pry it loose here and turn it over, we are going to have a problem. Yes. In fact, it stuck so bad it bent the railing. Okay, now this one here is loose already. Let's just take it out of there. Yeah, how about this one? Is this one loose? It's kind of loose. Okay, I guess that's probably the only one we're going to have a major problem with. Yeah, this side looks pretty good. You know, in all likelihood, we're probably going to get away with it. This side is not too bad. There's a, you know, there is a mark right here. However, we don't need this. This is part of the fret. So we just have to worry about where the rails have been. Yeah, that's not too bad. You know, it's actually not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Okay. All right, we got our railings now done with the Stynel res. So we might be able to salvage this bottle of Stynel res. You know, just remember to kind of let it settle, and then unless I can figure out a way of filtering it, and then thin it out. Now, excuse me. Now the only thing that could happen is that that we thinned it out too much, and it now is not as effective as it was before. There is that possibility. Yeah. Okay. Okay, you will have noticed yesterday how well the airbrush kept spraying when I was going. Well, I don't know if you knew it or not, but I was going at full throttle there. In other words, I had the needle retracted all the way into the nozzle. The nozzle was opened up as much as it possibly could be, and it just kept going and going and going. It was kind of like the Energizer Bunny. It wasn't going to stop. And anyway, if I think of all the comments I've got, and I've got what somebody called, I was getting what somebody called tip dry. And that's why we were getting the backflush, the bubbles in there. And what was happening is that when the needle was almost all the way out, and I was just spraying sort of maybe at half throttle, and the needle was still sticking out, there was air drying the tip of the needle, and a blob of paint was getting on the end, and consequently the air, instead of flowing out over the end of the needle, it was kind of backing up, and there was a pressure building up there behind this blob of dried paint, and it was forcing the air back up the nozzle and into the tank here. Okay, so that was half the problem. The other half of the problem was that there is little tiny lumps in this. Now, one thing that I'm going to say right now is going to sound kind of funny. One of the reasons why we're having trouble with this Stynel res is because it is so darn good. It just sticks like crazy to whatever it dries on, which is what it's supposed to do, right? And that's what's happening. So I get it on the end of my needle. I take my little toothbrush and isopropyl and I try to clean it off. And because this paint is so darn good, it just won't come off. It's sort of a, I don't know, we're sort of damned if we do and we damned if we don't, or maybe there's a better phrase for this. But yeah, so I've concluded what the problem is. If I want to spray Stynylrez, spray it at full throttle. I'm using the term full throttle. Maybe that's not the best term either, but that way the needle is retracted all the way into the nozzle. It is constantly being covered by paint instead of a mixture of paint and air, and it's just going to spray better. And then I can adjust my air pressure up and down to increase or decrease the flow. But we had it pretty well right yesterday, maybe a little bit on the heavy side last night. Anyway, that's the conclusion I've come to. The problem is it's not the airbrush or in any way, and actually the Stynylrez is good, except it's lumpy. I just gotta remember how to use this stuff. So, all right. Okay, there was something else I was going to mention here and I forgot, and that is that to sort of clarify or verify what I'm saying about Stynylrez sticking so good, especially to metal, is that in yesterday's video when I was showing the close-up of the needle, I saw it, and also one of the viewers also saw it, that the needle had Stynylrez still on the end of it. Now this was even after I had wiped the needle off really well with a paper towel and isopropyl. The dried Stynylrez did not come off. I took it apart and I did get it off. The needle now is, you might say, pristine on the end, but there was still Stynylrez. I'll see if I can find that clip and show you what I was talking about. Okay, right now I'm sitting at the computer editing out today's episode, and I did find that clip. I am so glad that I do not delete the clips after I'm through. I have terabytes of clips going way back, years actually, pretty much every one I've ever taken. Anyway, enough about that. Yeah, what I'm going to try and do here is see if I can't maybe enlarge it and sharpen it a little bit. And you can sort of see it there. It's not like a big blob of paint or anything, but you can see that the paint did not get cleaned off. This stuff sticks like crazy. Okay. I have beat this Stynylrez thing to death. Then I have breathed life back into it and beat it to death again. And how many times didn't I do that? And I could go on and on, about all the good ideas that people had about how to filter the lumps out of it. And some of them were really good. I think the nylon stocking idea is probably the best, except there are no more nylon stockings in our house. And if there was, I wouldn't admit it. Anyway, now, I think it was this one here. I accidentally kind of squashed it down a little bit, so I got to try and fix that. Anyway, let's see if we can't get our ladders. Where are the ladders? Okay. See if we can't get some of these ladders in place here. Now, if I remember right, I had concluded that a lot of them are going to be too awkward to do on camera. So I'm just going to go ahead and see what I can do here. Okay, this is the last of the 4 ladders that, in other words, D7, D5, which is this one, and they go on both sides. I've already got them on the other side, and I've got the D7 in place on this side. And it goes in right there. I'll reposition so that you can see it. And tell you an easy way I found, well, maybe I should say easier, because I've been working at this for, well, I guess when you consider the time it took me to have to find one of these that I dropped on the floor, and fortunately didn't step on it. I've been working at this for about an hour already. Let me reposition here. Okay, this might not work. As I've mentioned before, trying to do stuff on camera is half the fun for me. Sometimes it'll work and sometimes it won't. So we want to get our ladder laying on its side like that. Now we want to lay it on its side on the bulkhead, and then sort of try and slide it into place. Because it's almost in the right place now. I think it's in the right place there. Now, where's my extra thin? Now where's my CA? Okay, now I know we're not gluing it in exactly the right place. Okay, now it's there. It's kind of in place the way it's supposed to be. I'll put it on the turntable and swing it around, and maybe we can see all 4 ladders, but I kind of doubt it. Now, I was right. You can hardly see anything. They're, see if I can point it out. They're down in this little stairwell. And, sort of the same on the other side here. It's sort of like the staircase in the Titanic. Yeah, looked really nice until you had the Titanic made, and then you couldn't see it. Okay. Now, as I was talking about the Titanic staircase there, I was getting a delivery. And no sooner did I push the stop button, and I heard something rattling at my door. Yeah. So I'm going to be wanting to put this thing together and see what I got here. And we're going to call this video quits for today. And in the event I do come back to the model table this evening, I will video it again. But I can't promise. Thanks for watching, everybody. And all being well, we'll see you tomorrow.